never seen a white person, you know what I'm saying? But I grew up in a place, if I didn't want to deal with white folks, I could totally escape from that. I grew up with segregation skills. All right? What I'm saying to you in the 21st century, if you come from a place where it is a homogeneous environment, and you're in a school or in a university or in a college setting where they're not offering you many opportunities to explore and to grow around diversity, you need to get your money back. Because what the 21st century employer is saying is we want people in the 21st century that can land anywhere on this map. Think about that. Where on this map can you show up with the major that you're pursuing or the job you want in the future, and you can do it anywhere on this map? That's the kind of skill set that the employers are asking for in the 21st century. Global competence. If you want to be employable in the 21st century, speak 3 languages. Expand your skill set beyond that monocultural, segregated comfort zone that many of us are birthed from. You need diversity skills in the 21st century. All right, so this map is a way to lay the foundation for that. I say to young people, be employable anywhere on this map. I know for me when I was growing up, it was right there in the Panhandle, right there, Southwest Florida. Like that was the lens in which I saw the world. Man, imagine how employable I would be in the 21st century if that's the only skill set I had today. Don't let that be you. If you are operating on the skills that your parents and grandparents operated on 20, 40, 50, 60 years ago, it's not going to work in the 21st century. You have got to grow your skill set. America's changing. The question is, are you ready? I'm talking about building cultural competence, but also having confidence. It's not enough to know what people eat in these places, know how they worship, you know, what kind of cultural celebration. That's not enough. That's not what I'm talking about. That's superficial stuff. All right, I'm not asking you that. You can read that in the book. You can Google that. I'm talking about having the skill sets to do your job confidently and competently in the 21st century, anywhere on the map. That takes skill development. That's the kind of skills I want to push you and challenge you to continue to develop in this environment. Are you ready? Where can you be comfortable on this map? Where can you be confident and confident? Expand so that you can be anywhere on that map and you will be employable. These are just signs of proof that America's changed. Think about the symbols you see there. How many of those weren't in existence 5 years ago? Like the world that you're seeing is not only changing, but it's changing fast. Right, there are things that are coming at us and that will be before us in the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We don't even know about them right now. In fact, Google is saying, which is one of the most prosperous and most productive companies in the world's history, what they're saying for their 21st century employees, hey, we don't know what the answers are in the 21st century, but we know we want people who can solve them. But they've got to be able to solve them in diverse groups. That's what they're looking for in the 21st century. This display here is just a sample of you, a sample to you to think about the kind of changes that are going to be coming your way faster and faster. Let me ask you this. What's the earliest age we give kids an iPad? What would you guess? Right? I mean 2-year-olds with their own Facebook page. They're like, hit me up, like me, Dr. Moore. You know what I'm saying? No, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I'm just kidding a little bit. But it's interesting to see how people are giving kids 2 years old an iPad already. Why? Because they know in the 21st century that if those kids grow those skills, if they have early interactions with those skill sets, that they're going to get better and better and better. And because technology and technological advances are such a big part of the 21st century, the early introductions of these skills, the more they do it, the more they do it, the more they do it, the better they get, the more comfortable they get, the possibilities of their employability around these skill sets is going to be greater. You with me? All right, so early introduction, so the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you're going to be. It is amazing to me how people fight the diversity conversation, even when they're in college. Like, I don't want to talk about that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's not where I'm from. We don't even have any black people around here. Latino folks around here. We don't need to talk about diversity. Are you kidding me? It's sometimes for folks, this is the first time they ever have conversations about diversity. At 18, 20 years old. Man, I don't want to say it's too late, but man, you are putting yourself behind in skill development if you're waiting to 17, 18, 19, 20 to have these discussions. I think we need to be having them as early as we get the iPad. But sometimes the diversity conversation is the one people fight the most. When's the last time you seen somebody cut the technological budget?
That's right.
Man, it is unbelievable. So I'm just saying to you, young people, 21st century leaders, to get yourself ready for a fast-changing, multicultural 21st century world. It's not going to happen by osmosis. Coming from good parents, being good people is not enough. All right? What you're doing to build those skill sets is what's important. I always say to people, integration without preparation does not work. So are you ready? What are you doing to grow your skill set? When you grow your skills, grow them comprehensively. All right? Build those skills all the way across these dimensions. Don't just start at black and white. And remember, all right, preparation is key. Let me close by saying this in this first part. All right, when you're building skills or when you're building yourself into a diversity, multicultural citizen or leader, you do it in two ways. One, you build new skills because new things are coming. Two, you got to get rid of some old stuff. All right, so the preparation you've had up to this point may be setting the foundation so that you can build and keep building in a positive way. But for some of us, I would argue, some of the preparation we receive may not be so healthy, so we got to get rid of some of that so we can add some stuff. Here's my favorite preparation story. Any of y'all from Iowa? Any Iowa listening? This is the Iowa story. Great. Right? Well, maybe Minnesota. I don't know if this made it to Minnesota, so let me give it to y'all and fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a... Whew, you little sweat. I get a little sweaty every time I do that. Right. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Kids are talking about toe. But my friends in Iowa told me they learned that nursery rhyme. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a nickel by the toe. Man, what kind of house teaches their 2-year-old nursery rhymes with nigger in it? Wow. Now think about psychologically what that does to a young person at 2. And they hear that for the next 10 years, the next 15 years. And then they come to college with that in their foundation. Do you think that that have any kind of impact on the way they see the world? Absolutely. Now, if that person is going to build themselves into a culturally competent leader, like having one black friend is not going to be enough. All right, people are like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm a racist. I love Drake. I listen to Lil Weezy all the time. I love black people. What are you talking about? Right? They'll have one friend from one group, or they'll go to one restaurant that they like where they serve Thai food. Or they'll go to Cancun for vacation. It's amazing what people will do to justify they have diversity skills in the 21st century. What I'm saying to you, that superficial stuff is not enough. You got to build new skills, and that takes work. But also, some of us in this room, I would argue myself being one of them, have to get rid of some old stuff first. That's important. Build your skills. When you build them comprehensively. But understand that getting rid of some of the stuff that you learned at an early age over and over and over again is not going to be easy. It's hard work. All right, before we move into a conversation about white supremacy, right, white cultural dominance, we got to first understand that everybody in this room has work to do. You got to do your work. You can't get into this system analysis piece without understanding the work that you have to do first. You with me? So do your stuff. When you do your stuff, build new stuff. It's like a new app. It's like Candy Crush. You can't wait to get to the next level, right? You're just pursuing it. You can't wait to go to the next level, right? You got to build new stuff. You got to go after new stuff because new things are coming at you. Each screen, each level is going to have a new challenge. All right, that's what the land of the 21st century, the world of the 21st century is going to be offering you new challenges. So you got to keep growing. All right, but also you can't forget about that ugly stuff. And that stuff sometimes is not very easy to change. So we're going to transition into systems, but I'm going to do that using this formula that I created. All right? And this formula was created just to be a kind of place where you can hold on and remember that it's not going to be easy to make changes. All right, so as you build new skills, understanding, clearing away some of that old stuff is not going to be easy. So let me give you the formula. And this is perfect for the systemic analysis piece that we're about to get in as well. All right, because systems have been in place for hundreds of years. And people are talking about, oh, we're going to change things, we're going to make things better. You are trying to change a system that you have no clue about. That's what I would argue. How else can you explain the increasing gaps that we're seeing across our nation? If things are getting better, if we're making movements for toward a better, a movement towards a better place, a better nation, right? Why are the gaps, why are the disparities getting wider? Right, we're often trying to change a system, an institution, an organization that we have no clue about. Part of it is because we pick up these patterns of behavior, and in our own behavior patterns, we can't even make changes. You can't transform yourself from a racist, sexist, homophobic household. So how the heck are you going to change an organization, an institution? No wonder we have the same kind of gaps, if not increasing gaps. All right, so I want to just push you and challenge you a little bit to get serious about making some changes in your own life around some of this stuff. And like going to one event like this is a great event. I mean, Dr. Flay's been doing this for years. Right? Where are the changes in the world after 38 years?
Come on.
Well, how many years is it going to take? All right, so I'm just saying, in addition to coming to something like this, you got to do some other work. A couple days, 3 days here, Pan-African is not enough. You got to do some other work. So I want to introduce to you, I understand how hard it is just from personal experience. And I want to introduce you to this formula as a way to hang on to that, as a way to transition us into this conversation about institutions and organizations as well. But everybody's got work to do, and this is tough work. I was listening to Dr. Hayes talk a little bit about sobriety, man, and getting sober. I mean, I'm one day at a time myself, but after 24 plus years, I can just remember how, I was conditioned over and over and over and over again from this high. Like, oh, things are bad? Smoke weed. Hey, things are great? Smoke weed. Oh, you're having a tough time? Drink some Crown. Oh, you just won the game? Drink some Crown.
Jeez.
Right? I never learned how to celebrate or deal with problems outside of drugs and alcohol. That's the way I was conditioned. Right? So it took me a long time to realize that I could live life without drugs and alcohol in my system and be happy and be productive. Man, it was a struggle. And I don't lose sight of that one day at a time. I don't take those 24 years lightly. One day at a time, so I can really resonate with what the brother's saying. But change is hard. All right, so let's just use this formula as a way to kind of hold us in this transitional spot from individual to institution. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. All right, now this is a smart bunch we've got to do today. I tell you, exactly right. Fill in the blank. Sorry, you can't see the fill in the blank. Right, this is what happens to us growing up. Everybody has this happen. Everyone in this room. Is people fix us on patterns of behavior. We learn things from this high over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right? That's what I call the formula. People teach you 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4. 18 years of that, I ask you, what's 2 plus 2? You say in unison? 4. Absolutely. Right? I have a 3-year-old right now. He's going through one of the most grueling processes that any individual goes through, and that's please and thank you. He asks for something, we say, what do you say? 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 He says, right. We give it to him, we say, what do you say? 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 He says, right. You ever meet adults who forgot how to say please and thank you? Now, that's a whole nother workshop. I have to come back and do that one, right? Now, my point is, sometimes the formulas we get fixed on are good things. Sometimes the behavior patterns we get fixed on are really good, and it's great to have them forever. You with me?
Yes.
Now, imagine if I teach him any, mighty, mo, catch a cracker by the toe. From 3 to 13.
Come on.
Or till he's at 17, 18, and he comes to college in the Midwest. Do you think that can have an influence on his psychology? Everybody in this room, I argue, has some meeny, miny, mo in it. Stuff that they've learned, patterns of behavior they've been fixed on, that they never challenged. That's why people fought so hard for segregation. I understand that now. Why would you want me around if I'm going to ask questions against the way things always worked? I understand why people are most comfortable being around people who look like them, talk like them. Right? Because when you're in segregated environments, you can be incompetent. You don't have to worry about what other people are thinking. I can understand that. why people don't give a crap, right? They come to places like this, they sit in there, email, surf the web, whatever. I can understand. It's a real privilege to not have to care about the kinds of racist, sexist, homophobic environments you grew up in. If you hang around with the people who still have the same behavior, that's a real privilege. Now, I'm assuming that some of you in this room are here to have some challenge around that. And what I'm saying to you, if you got some meanie, miny, mo in you, which I argue everybody does, you need to check that out. That's some unhealthy stuff. Right? Whatever that is, check it out. I got a few of those things I can talk to you about. I just don't have the time to talk to you about all of them, but there are a few of them. Around gender, around sexual orientation. You ever meet people in 2014 and you wonder, like, how did you get into the general population? Like, how can you still be thinking like that? How can you still be talking like that? Sometimes these people are in power positions.
Come on.
It is unbelievable. Now, I can't be, and we can't be changing all those folks, but you take a serious look at your own pattern of behavior and the things you got fixed into that may be unhealthy. That maybe dig that deep down in your system, in your core, in your foundation. I don't know what that is for you, but I believe and I argue that everybody's got that. So you've got to identify that. Secondly, there's a skill set that you can develop that allows you to be able to see forward differently. Okay, that's a skill. It's not that the answer changes. It's just the way the answer is going to appear in the 21st century is going to be very different. You with me?
That's right.
So it takes a real skill to be able to appreciate for in a different form. You with me?
Come on.
So my example is parent-teacher conferences, right? I used to train as a teacher, education is the field I've been in all my life, right? In my mind, I learned that here's what a family looks like. Here's what the parent-teacher conference is going to look like. Here's what's going to come in when the family comes in. It's a man and a woman. That's what they taught me in my church. That's what I learned to believe in my church. Like, this is what a family is. So when it came to family, I had one picture of four. You with me?
Yeah, come on.
Now, as you can imagine, in the 21st century, family is looking very different. It takes skill to be able to appreciate that. You may not agree with it, and that's cool if that's what your personal or religious belief is, right? That's cool, but you will lose your job in the 21st century if you can't do it able to handle four in a different form. You with me? So what's another way we can see four appear? What's another way to express four that's different? Nice. I like voices that are loud. Sorry, I'm just role model. What else?
5 minus 1.
Say that again?
5 minus 1.
Nice. What else? Nice. What else? Huh? Nice. I heard you, bro. Give it a little louder, man. My class, you can't have brothers quiet in my class. Give it to me loud. All right. What else?
The word for.
Nice. You know. Man. What else? Huh? You ain't saying nothing. Give me four in a form where I got to think about it. I don't know what. I like that, but she just flashed over. Now, again, this is great. This is a real good. Most people kind of throw me off when they do it in a different language. Someone will say four in a different language, right? And that's really great because it's another way in which I'm so used to hearing four in math formulas that I got that down. But when somebody says it in a language, I'm like, whoa, what is that, right? That's what New York does for you, right? Like every day in New York, there'll be something, and I'm like, whoa, okay, all right. Right? That's the kind of world you got to be prepared for. Right? Or in the 21st century for you, it's going to be very different than it was for your parents and grandparents. That's the kind of skill that I want you to be able to develop. The kind of skill that you want to be welcoming in your life. That when you see something so different than what it's always been in your life, that you're like, oh, okay, help me understand that. Let's talk about that. Right? Where I used to say, that's not a family. What are you talking about? Where's the daddy?
Come on.
And these two guys, one of y'all got to be the uncle or something. Are you with me? So I challenge you to get at that work, and that's tough work. Right? And this can be individual work, but also institutional work, which is where we're going to go next. Okay? Looking at systems, looking at institutions, that's where we're going to go next. As we look at this issue of white supremacy, white male dominance. You can't just go right there in that conversation with you. You can't say, hey, today we're going to just be right into white supremacy. Maybe at the Pan-African Conference, but my experience has been, even in a place like this, you have folks, they've never engaged that topic before. So I like to always have folks get there in a way that looks at you first. All right, so if you're going to go into a white supremacy conversation, let's just make sure we're all clear that everybody has work to do. All right, we all get fixed in unhealthy patterns of behavior, and we all got to build skill set to see the world different. Do your work, people. Why? Because systems will change you. Okay? You can be a good person, and you can do some jacked up stuff. My best example of a system changing people is traffic. I'm sure they got a little traffic here in Mankato. It gets backed up a little bit. I live in Brooklyn, New York. Like, Brooklyn traffic will make your grandma swear. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is the real deal. You know, traffic, seriously, from an institutional example, traffic changes people all the time, right? It can have a good person with a good heart doing some unhealthy stuff, right? What's a substantive example? What else will traffic make you do outside of swear? What else? What else? It'll make you do hand puppets to the reverend in the car next to you. Absolutely. What else?
Honk the horn.
It'll make you do a little road rage, a little impatient, honking the horn. Absolutely. Are you with me? So traffic changes people's behavior all the time. Good people can do unhealthy things. You with me? So you got to understand systems, organizations, institutions, how they work, because they will change your behavior. So once you understand the traffic, you know what it'll do to your behavior. What can you do to avoid it? Say it again? I can't hear you. What can you do to understand it? You could take an alternative route. Absolutely. What else? You can get up early in the morning. You know the time that it's going to be thickest, so you avoid the rush hour. Absolutely. What else?
Take the subway.
We take the train in New York City. Absolutely.
Or in Brooklyn.
Or you can represent over there, right? Or you can carpool possibly, right? You with me? So you understand it. You build up alternatives. You with me? All right. So this is the framework we're going to use to look at white supremacy, white male dominance, white culture dominance. It's using systems. I'm arguing that you can be a good person with black friends, with Latino friends, doing racist stuff, sexist stuff, homophobic stuff. You can do oppressive things even if you're a good person. You with me? If you don't understand the system you're in, you can produce the negative results that the system was designed for you to reproduce. Traffic is the perfect example. All right, so we're going to practice doing this with a system. Here in the last few minutes here, we're going to practice system analysis. Simultaneously, I'm going to be showing you how this system will jack you up. Okay? The system we're going to look at is America. I use the exercise called We the People, which is really the kind of mission vision of America. All right, so when you examine institutions, the first thing you want to do is look at when they got started. The paperwork, so to speak, the mission vision. When was Mankato State, when was Minnesota State Mankato started? Anybody know? The date? How many? 1868? Just say 1800s, right? Way back. Right? So if we were doing a system analysis of Minnesota State Mankato, we look at the starting point. You with me? So we're looking at America. We're going to practice with America. Because this is a place that all of us are in right now. Okay? So when America got started, the mission vision, what is it that America set out to do? Actually, we're pretty proud of these things because other people can't do them in other places. One of the things that we can do here that America set out to do to give us as citizens or people living in here that other people can't do in other places. Vote. All right? People said vote. I'm going to put an asterisk next to that because I'm from Florida, so people still questioning whether or not that's true. What else? Anything else? What else can we do here?
Freedom of religion.
We have freedom. Free your mind. The rest will follow. One of those freedoms is religion. What else?
Fair trial.
All right, we have fair trial. What else?
Speech.
Speech. What else? Right to bear arms. Right. What else? Anything else we can do here in America that we're proud of? Mission vision? All right. So, yeah, let's put that in freedom. Yeah. All right, so we'll use that as a framework at the start. Usually people say assembly. Sometimes they say education, that kind of thing. Depends on how people look at it. The point is, this is how America got started. You look at the starting point, 1787, 1789, here we are in 2014. I usually give America a 0 here. Why? Because when this was put out there, not everybody in this room had access. You with me? Not everybody had access to this when this got started. So, I usually give America a big fat 0 here. You with me? Here we are in 2014. Are we at 100%? Are we there? No. Are we still at 0? Okay. How many of you would say 75% or higher progress? Anybody say we're 75 or higher? How about 50 to 75? Few people in there. How about 25 to 50? Few people in there. How about 10 to 25? How about 5 to 10? How about 0 to 5? A couple terrorists in the room. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's actually not that funny when you think about it, because, I mean, a lot of times when you have discussions about organizations, institutions, try to take a really critical stance on your organization, your institution. Right? Especially when you talk about America. Right? That's the way people will label you, actually. It's a real privilege for some of us to have a really critical perspective, but you never get labeled in that way. Some of us have to be really careful about how we speak out, really critical, even in classrooms. All right, so, I mean, I kind of do this and folks get a little chuckle at it, but I remember the Dixie Chicks, I mean, they paid a real price offering some real critical perspective of the president. Y'all remember that? All right, so it's important to keep in mind who gets to be critical of the system or organization as well. Here, again, all we're trying to do right here is practice system analysis. All right, looking at how systems get designed. We're practicing with America by starting with America's mission vision, what it set out to do. We're looking at the starting point, we're looking at where we are now, how much progress. Why? I'm just interested in one or two of you just expressing where you are and why. Anybody want to say where they are and why? Anyone? 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 Bueller? No? No? Okay, good. I didn't tell you this. I used to be a 9th grade history teacher. I told the people in my class, the students in my class, you're not going to sit in my class beautiful, talented, and quiet. So you can either volunteer the information or I will call on you, but you know what I'm saying? And don't try that little middle school look down, look away trick, because I know that trick. All right? What's your name? Yes?
Katie?
Katie. How much progress? Has America made any progress?
I'd say a little bit.
What's one reason why you would say they made progress?
Because I don't feel like everybody still has all the rights that they should.
Yeah, but what's a good reason? Why are you saying not? Why aren't you saying 0 then? What's the sign of progress? What's a good thing that's going on? One reason why you would say it's not 0?
Because we still try to be together as a community.
Absolutely. Thank you, Katie. All right, let's go here. Then we go here. Yes. Yes.
I was just going to say the person in a room with others, we're all one college.
Great. She was saying we're in a diverse setting in this room. Folks are here in a higher environment, going to college, that kind of thing. Thank y'all. Yes. That's what you're going to say. Did I see another hand? Yes.
Go Barney style with it, but we got rid of slavery.
You say Mangum style? What you say?
Barney style.
Oh, Barney style. Oh.
Yeah.
We got rid of slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Anyone else? Yes.
I say we ain't really making much progress because we started the progress in the wrong direction.
Right. You said we started moving the wrong way, so you're not saying we made any progress?
We made a little.
How? I'm just interested. I think that's what diversity is all about. You should be able to have all perspectives in the room, and everybody should be able to express their perspective, and nobody should suffer a penalty for that. We're just practicing which is really important, to have the opportunity to have these kind of challenging conversations. Many people would argue with you when you go home and say, hey, I went to a workshop on white supremacy. You're like, oh my God, did anybody die? Right? People think you can't have this conversation, seriously. And here we are right now in dialogue, which I think is important. We're practicing that. All right, I saw a couple of hands here. I saw a hand here. Let's go right behind you, brother, right there in front of you. Yes, way in the back first and then right there.
More people are getting more education now.
More education, right behind you.
I feel like we have all these people stepping up, but there's still these organizations forming hate.
Okay, great. Did I see another? I thought I saw it. Yes, yes.
The segregation in schools.
All right, nice. Now you're cooking with gas, as they say. Yes, sister.
More entrenched narratives.
Oh, go Tiger Wood on me now. All right, yes.
Our fact that our president is black.
My president is black. My man goes. Actually, we should acknowledge the fact that the president is not racial, because the president doesn't deny his mama, so we should deny his mama. What else were you going to say?
I said, or he's darker.
Say that again?
He has darker pigment. That's it.
Yeah, well, the way he's judged, maybe seen in society, definitely, I would agree with you there, but I think it's really important that when you describe the president, I think, again, he doesn't deny his connection and his heritage with his mother. I don't think we should as well. That's just the way I see it. So I'm just saying, that's a whole nother workshop, but I feel like I understand what you're saying. That's one of the signs of progress. Great. Again, what I'm asking y'all to do is to keep this conversation going. You can talk about tough conversations, particularly conversations about white supremacy, and still be in friendship, still be in collaboration. This is a perfect example of that. Take this with you. Try this over the summer break or spring break when you're with family. Say, hey, I want to ask y'all about white supremacy. Well, actually, don't say it in that way. You can maybe start by saying, hey, you know, when this country started, I mean, we set out to do some really good stuff. I mean, do we really, or are we really doing what we set out to do? You know what I'm saying? That's a good way to have a tough conversation, but it's framed in a way everybody can participate with me. That's a skill set to have in the 21st century, is if you can be the one to help generate tough conversations, but you do it in a way where everybody can be inclusive. That's some real leadership. That's some real skill development right there. So I want to really encourage you to keep having these kinds of conversations and developing your skill set so that you can do it in a way that everybody feels included. You with me? All right, great. So keep having this conversation, which is really about systems, organizations, institutions. We're using America as the backdrop to that. All right? I'm usually at about 2 to 3%. But today, you know, I started out at Gustavus, had a great morning there with some folks, a great night last night with some students. Here I am at Pan-African, connecting with my frat brother, Brother Joe Fagan, again, back in the mix of things. So I'm off to such a great start here today. My cup, I might be at 3.5 today. My cup might be running over today. All right? I use 3 things to judge progress. One, I think we give America way too much credit for basic human treatment. All right? The fact that we're sitting here, I'm not saying that that's not great, because people die so that could be happening. But this is a place that says that you're doing that from the beginning. That's like rewarding you a party because you got up to go to class this morning. All right? You don't give people a lot for something they already shouldn't be doing because they'll get lazy. 2, I think America should pay reparations for slavery. Now, I know I probably need some therapy for this, and I'm okay with that. I am, seriously. I'm still a little ticked off about the fact that our country built a great amount of wealth and resources and stored it on free labor. And I think, I'm not saying individual white person should be paying me a check. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're an organization or business that built your wealth and your resources off the slave trade, you should be contributing back. And there's a great book called The Debt, written by Randall Robinson, that outlines those organizations in this nation that built their wealth, that still exists today, on the slave trade, free labor. I'm saying that those organizations, those institutions should be contributing back. But the third thing, most importantly, is we. Right? Most people, when they examine progress in organizations, they look at the oppressed group. Man, look at those women now. Man, look at those Asian Pacific Islanders now. Man, look at those Latinos now. Man, look at those black folks now. Right? They always examine the progress from the oppressed group. They never look at the power structure, the we. So in 1787, 89, what did the we look like? Right? They were white. some people say they were Protestant, some people say they were agnostic, some people say they were deists, some people say they were, who knows? I mean, we don't even know how many times they went to church, if they even went to church. What we do know is when they stated from the public square, they usually had the cross in their hands. You with me? But we really don't know. Were they gay? I mean, we really don't know that. But from the public square, they did it from a heterosexual perspective. You with me? Were they disabled? Actually, we don't know that either. But we do know that Roosevelt actually hid himself because power was supposed to be presented upright in an able-bodied way. You with me? Now, again, you may not be in agreement or you may not be liking the way you're feeling about this right now, but hey, you'll thank me later, okay? And that's okay, but I'm hoping that we can all